Cool. Welcome back for episode two in our series of industrial genomics videos for the Winning Agenda. I'm Wilfy Horig at Chaos Juggler on Genteki.net. I decided to mulligan the first hand because it didn't have any ice. A perfectly good reason, I think. And now we will get the game rolling. So usually try and put Eli on R&D just because I expect R&D to be more um, relevant as the game goes on. So Cortex Lock is a perfect HQ ice since you can often control well what goes on HQ. So my first turn was Eli, install Cortex Lock, install Health Clinic. Oh, and my opponent is playing a Kate deck, yep, with Visage and Fansight. I'm not sure what use Fansight has, but I'm sure whatever use it does have, my opponent will show me very soon. So let's install, and then let's install over server 1. I don't mind putting Cortex Lock on archives, but I really do want to keep this health clinic around, and it's either that or drawing another card, which I don't think is good right now. Film Critic, yeah, Film Critic and Fansite. Do these two things work together? Oh, who knows. Cool, so let's draw, and we'll probably end up ditching these baddies and caprices, and let's install, and let's just draw again. Yeah, I know it does seem a bit strange to draw so many times, but I really do want to find a more drip economy quickly. Daily costs, yep. So my opponent probably is a bit slower than prepaid speed, I would expect, since they have Fansight. Or multi-threader, alright, cool, yep. Start. Yep, so let's install this on archive just so my opponent can't get through. Instantly install a new remote, and I think I'll install this in server 1 just because I plan to transition this into a scoring server at some point. And Baddie and Cortex Lock is a really great combo in the early game anyway, so I'm not super worried. Cool, so Magnum Opus. Draw, and install. Yep. Archives is fat enough at the moment that it really would be difficult for them to trash even an unprotected launch campaign, and we have an ice on archives, so I'm not worried. Our opponent's just setting up. Yep, I think we're gonna start like usually, if my opponent doesn't have a Count Siphon, I don't like to medical research fundraiser too early, just because you don't often when they're setting up you can propel them. But I think at some point, basically once it gets to the point where their credits are only used for using breakers, and being able to get a +5 boost can turn you from not being able to install and to res all your ice to being able to res all your ice. That's the point at which it becomes good to do so. So I think I will draw. Let's save this anonymous tip for next turn. Let's install a new remote, and I kind of want to install this in a new remote just because my opponent's still low in credits. Like, I know they're going to get 6 for their turn, but with +4, it's still difficult to trash anything. Oh, Scrubber. Plascrete, yep. I mean, yeah, they haven't seen any non-Jinteki cards, so Plascrete's a safe bet. Study guide, yep, cool. Let's res this launch campaign and just use Melange while I still can. Discard. I do kind of want to keep this intern, so let's discard this fundraiser. Yeah. Just because my opponent's back to being low on credits and they have study guides, so although actually we only have Crix as code gates, so maybe study guide isn't so big a deal. But I want to keep all these other cards, so it looks like, yeah, I still don't really get this Fansight thing. Bookmark, yep. Sure. So I think we could melange. I think I'm just going to melange one more time and then start to discard this other melange, since now we're used up. Basically, we don't want melange. Once we've melanged this many times, we have 2 Ashigaros we can play and res immediately, plus anonymous tip that we can play at any point to give us more gas. So yeah, Akamatsu. It's funny that Akamatsu memchip actually helps us at the moment, since Cortex Lock could be slightly relevant at some point in the future. So yeah, I think this can actually transition to a scoring remote reasonably quickly. So let's just hedge fund. I don't really want to. No, I think it's still fine. Let's just put these both on server 1. Like, I was gonna say it's a bit awkward that if they run HQ, they still have a 1 in 3, but they don't have a barrier breaker or a sentry breaker. And while they're not afraid of like dying to damage, it still does seem, when I have 42 credits, a little weird to spend one of your actions running HQ to just get a random access. The source, yep, that's not a huge deal for us. Oh, HQ interface, now they might run. But it's still the same situation, really. Like, yep, cool. Susano. Actually, I think this server's secure enough. I just want an anonymous tip so I can turn on these Ashigarus. Trash this to install a vanity project in server 1. And they don't have any R&D multi-access right now, so let's just advance once. I'm not super worried. And this is going to require 3 more turns anyway if I advance. Like, if I don't advance, it's going to make it require an extra turn. Although that's not a huge deal, since I can easily see scoring this over, 4 turns, so I can install ice while I do so. Yep, so this study guide multi-threaded thing has well and truly turned off all our cricks, but thankfully crick is our only. Yep, let's just triple advance. Actually, this Cortex lock is turned off, so maybe let's... no, I think the best thing to do is to just triple advance so we can get this global food in the server as soon as possible. Actually, it doesn't change the number of turns I get to put the global food in it. But I guess what I mean is keep this vanity project in the server for as little time as possible, more than the other way around. Although it actually is interesting that I might want to keep the vanity project there for a turn, just to reduce the number of turns that fan-side data dealer triggers, like that my opponent has. I think I'm going to do that actually, which is funny. I've never done that before. Wait. No, that does make sense. Okay, so triple advance this, leave it there, and then next turn we can score it, then install double advance the global food. That's the minimum number of turns, basically, that we give our opponent. Yep, so our opponent's continuing to set up. Wait, do they? Yep, they have no unused memory, right? Yep. Cool. So now, even if they want to gain lots of credits, yeah, let's just wait for them to do their thing. Yep, so even if they want to gain lots of credits, it still costs them clicks to do so, which is the most important resource at this point. So yeah, it's going to be difficult for our opponent to get into any server. I mean, R&D possibly, but they only have one interface, so... Oh, they're just going to run the remote? Yeah, that's fair enough. Alright, let's start by resing Ashigaru. No more action. And the good thing about this deck, or this agenda distribution particularly, is that global food is the best agenda to have in the remote because it's the only one worth 2 points. So it's very possible that, apart from data dealer, there actually will turn out to be no benefit to scoring the food at all, because the only situation in which it is relevant, if you look back at the deck tech, is if they then score 2 future perfects, which is, of course, they have film critics, so it's not impossible, but still difficult. Oh, snowball. Yep, cool. Ashigaru, yep. they did a weird. They did this a bit weirdly, so I'm not sure. I hope they remember that snowball boosted strength, so it only costs 1. Yep, 5. Cortex lock is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they have 4, 5, 6, 7 memory. Yeah, so Cortex lock is going to deal them a damage. Which is not a huge deal, but you know. Okay. No more action, and let's do this baddie for the game. Well, you know, not for the game, but I think I'm gonna bid 2. Usually I like bidding 2 blind, just because it's at least, you know, I feel maybe I won't talk about my side game strategy right now, since it basically doesn't matter. But yeah, I like to as default bid 2 as a corp, just because you go through as a corp you can. All right, I'll talk about it anyway. As a corp, you can often go through enough side games, like you have much more control about when and how your side games fire, that you can often just turn the economic situation into always being able to, or not always, but lots of the time being able to fire your side games to succeed in your side games. Anyway, thanks for listening and watching. This is Wilfy Horig, Chaos Dragon on Genteki.net, and see you next round.